At the end of the last video, Billy and Rebecca killed James Marcus, who had returned from death seeking revenge, and escaped the training facility just before the explosion. Then, they saluted under the sunset and parted ways. Billy pursued freedom, temporarily leaving the Resident Evil universe, while Rebecca headed towards a mansion deep in the forest. It's said that many secrets are hidden there. Meanwhile, the veterans of STAR's Alpha team, lured by their undercover Captain Wesker, were also heading towards the mansion. What bizarre and terrifying events will unfold next? Welcome to the story of Resident Evil 1. The elite squad of the Raccoon City Police Department, STARS, is divided into Alpha and Bravo teams. Bravo team is the squad where Rebecca Chambers, the protagonist of Resident Evil 0, belongs, including Captain Enrico Marini, member Rebecca Chambers, Richard Aiken, Kenneth Sullivan, Edward Dewey, Kevin Dooley, and Forrest Spire. Most of them, under the careful care of Rebecca the medic, honorably met their end. However, Alpha team has many important characters. They are Captain Albert Wesker, member Chris Redfield, Jill Valentine, Barry Burton, Joseph Frost, and Brad Vickers. Among them, Wesker is a spy planted by the Umbrella Corporation within the STARS team. The time is July 24th, 1998. Following the events of Resident Evil 0, Wesker returned to Alpha Team, where he had been undercover for years, and continued his role as captain. He gathered the team to search for Bravo Team, which had been missing for a long time. His true purpose was to lure the team members into the mansion, to collect combat data on the bioweapon BAU. The legendary mansion of the Resident Evil series is the main setting of the first game. To talk about the mansion's origins, we must go back to 1963. To research the virus and hide the underground Arkley laboratory, Spencer hired the famous architect George Trevor, under the pretense of building a vacation home for company executives. The mansion's interior was incredibly complex, full of traps and mechanisms. For years later, the mansion was completed. George became the only person besides Spencer who knew the mansion's secrets. Naturally, Spencer couldn't let him live, so he pretended to invite George and his family to visit the mansion. George happily accepted. Soon after, his wife Jessica and daughter Lisa were captured and injected with a mutated strain of the progenitor virus. George was placed under house arrest. Later, Jessica didn't survive and passed away. Their daughter Lisa successfully fused with the virus, but lost her sanity. We'll encounter Lisa later in the story. Afterwards, the imprisoned George began looking for a way out, but he was shocked to find the mansion's layout differed from his original design. The cunning Spencer must have altered it in secret. Unable to find an exit, George died a miserable death inside the mansion. Does this plot sound familiar? Remind you of Bleds, the designer of Pandora's Temple and God of War, or the fate of Archimedes, builder of the Apollo statue? Architects everywhere agree. It sucks. Back to the present. After arriving in the Arkley Mountains, Alpha Team found Bravo Team's crashed helicopter. The pilot from last episode, Kevin Dooley, had been brutally killed by a monster. Then, a terrifying sound came from the distance. Immediately, Joseph, the guy with the headband, was the first to bite the dust, killed by zombie dogs. Jill, who hadn't seen anything like this before, was frozen in fear. Luckily, Chris arrived just in time and saved her. Then, the helicopter pilot Brad, scared out of his mind, took off in the chopper. The group had no choice but to follow Wesker into the mansion. Now let's talk about the gameplay of Resident Evil 1. Unlike Resident Evil 0, you don't control two protagonists simultaneously in one rupee. Instead, Jill and Chris have separate storylines, though they're mostly similar overall. For simplicity, let's follow Chris's storyline. After Chris, Jill, and Wesker enter the mansion, they noticed Barry was missing. Then, a strange noise came from the next room. Wesker and Jill stayed in the main hall on guard, while Chris went to investigate alone. At the end of a hallway, Chris saw a bald man with his back turned, seemingly eating something. Then, he slowly turned his head. The iconic scene from the first Resident Evil followed. Love it. The person killed by this zombie was Bravo Team member Kenneth Sullivan. Seeing the zombie walk towards him step by step, Chris, who forgot to bring a weapon, had to retreat to seek support. But Wesker and Jill in the hall were gone. Chris had to pick up a pistol from the floor and continue exploring. After helping clear weeds in the backyard, and rescuing a zombie that unfortunately drowned, our good citizen Chris met Rebecca, the protagonist of Resident Evil 0. Rebecca was holding her teammate Richard, who was bitten by a venomous snake. According to Richard, it was a thick, long python. Following Rebecca's instructions, Chris found the serum and temporarily saved Richard's life. Then he set off to continue searching for a way out. On a balcony, Chris found the body of Bravo Team member Forrest Spire. Before dying, He tried to fight to cover for his incoming teammates. Suddenly, Forrest mutated into a zombie and attacked Chris. Because he was a former teammate, Chris couldn't kill him and left via another route. After finding a key and opening a cobweb-covered wooden door, Chris encountered the giant python that bit Richard. Normally, such giant pythons are non-venomous, so this must be another masterpiece of the Umbrella Corporation. During the fight, Chris was unfortunately bitten and poisoned. He stumbled away. Just as Chris was succumbing to the poison and about to die, Rebecca arrived with the serum and saved his life. Here, let's congratulate Rebecca for finally saving a teammate. Chris, standing again, continued forward. After placing 4 strange masks in their correct positions, he summoned a zombie with a glowing red face and killed it. In its coffin, Chris found an octagonal medal and used it to open the gate to the courtyard. Right then, Brad, the pilot who fled earlier, felt remorse. He tried to contact his teammates using a walkie-talkie. To keep the game going, the walkie-talkie conveniently broke. Later, a faint warning from Weskier came through. With doubts, Chris entered a small cabin. Suddenly, a shackled monster covered with countless faces attacked him. This monster was Lisa, the daughter of the architect George mentioned earlier. After being injected with the virus, Lisa lost her sanity, but she still remembered her mother. Her longing for her mother drove her mad, so she kept attacking the female researchers in the lab, and tearing off their faces to attach to her own body. Because her skin was so thick, ordinary weapons were completely useless against Lisa. Chris had no choice but to avoid her and press on. After solving a series of puzzles, Chris reached the large water tank. There, he encountered Richard, who had been bitten by a venomous snake earlier. Seeing his teammate Chris, Richard was freaking out, and then he was eaten by a shark in the water. Moving forward, Chris encountered Rebecca again. Upon hearing the news of Richard's unfortunate demise, she cried sadly. After giving Rebecca some typical guy comfort, Chris ran into Weskier. Weskier ordered him to return and continue investigating the mansion. Orders from the captain had to be followed. Chris had no choice but to head back the way he came. In the courtyard, he accidentally discovered a ladder leading underground. After climbing down, he unexpectedly encountered Enrico, the leader of Bravo team. Enrico shakily stood up and said to Chris, "There's a traitor among us. His name is, With no other options, Chris had to keep moving forward. In a strange room, a stone coffin sat in the center. Then Lisa walked in as well. After pushing down 4 large stones, the coffin lid was lifted, revealing the corpse of Lisa's mother, Jessica, lying inside. Sobbing, Lisa picked up her mother's skull, turned around, and jumped off the cliff. What a poor little girl. Umbrella's crimes are monstrous. After witnessing such a human tragedy, Chris wiped his tears and continued on. Forced drama. After activating a mechanism in a pool, a spiral staircase slowly emerged. Following the stairs all the way down, Chris finally arrived at the Arkley Underground Research Facility. There, he found a love letter from the facility's director to Ada. That's right, our very own Auntie Wong. At this time, Ada Wong, as a spy for a rival force, had infiltrated the Umbrella Corporation and successfully gotten close to the facility director, John. And then John fell deeply in love with this woman. He even set the lab terminal's username and password to John and Ada respectively, to express his love. Seeing this, Leon remarked, "Are you worthy? You're not." After entering the username and password into the terminal, some previously locked doors opened. Continuing his exploration, Chris found a projector and saw a group photo of the Umbrella Bioweapon Research Institute's development staff. At that moment, he made a shocking discovery. Isn't that guy with the sunglasses Weskier? Could it be that Weskier has already infiltrated the enemy's ranks? After unlocking a large iron door, Chris found Jill locked in a cell behind it, but with no key at hand, he had no choice but to continue exploring to find a solution. After carefully placing a fuel tank in the correct position, Chris activated the main elevator. At that moment, Rebecca, having regained her composure, caught up. The two finally began to move together. Riding the main elevator all the way up, they found Weskier. Weskier, seeing no need to hide the truth any longer, confessed everything to the two of them. During the previous virus leak incident, Wesker had already seen that Umbrella was about to collapse, so he defected to an organization hostile to Umbrella. This time, luring the STARS members to the mansion was to obtain combat data on the bioorganic weapon, BOW, as a gift for his new employer. Hearing this, Chris became furious and began cursing at Wesker. Wesker, being cursed at, was also very displeased, so he shot Rebecca down. Then Wesker said to Chris, "Come here, let me show you something big," and so he revealed the T-002 Tyrant to Chris. Just as Wesker was feeling triumphant, the Tyrant shattered its incubation tank and impaled Wesker's chest with its claws. From this, we can see that compared to the original, this generation's Tyrant only has smoother skin and shorter, more practical claws. Its intelligence doesn't seem to have improved much. It still can't distinguish friend from foe and is uncontrollable. With little effort, Chris defeated it and helped Rebecca up. Thanks to her bulletproof vest, Rebecca only suffered minor injuries. Looking back at Wesker, his death was truly gruesome. Actually, Wesker didn't die here. We'll explain more about him at the end. After defeating the Tyrant, the two concluded that the research facility contained too much T-virus. To prevent a leak, they had to destroy it immediately, so they activated the facility's self-destruct system. All the locks disengaged, and Jill escaped her cell. Then the three of them ran outside. On the way, Chris got another radio call from Brad, telling them to hurry, the chopper was running out of fuel. Once outside, Chris fired a flare into the sky as agreed, but instead of Brad, another Tyrant burst from the ground and swatted Jill away with one hit. I just thought Jill was cute and wanted to say hi. Didn't mean to hit her that hard. Just as the three were about to be overwhelmed, Brad finally arrived and dropped the classic Resident Evil finisher, or rocket launcher. Chris picked it up and fired, killing the Tyrant. At the end of the game, the mansion was successfully destroyed. The group escaped by helicopter. Bathed in the warm sunlight, the story of Resident Evil 1 officially ends here. Back in Raccoon City, Chris set out to investigate Umbrella. Jill was placed under house arrest, awaiting pursuit by an obsessed man, and at this moment, just before the virus was about to erupt in Raccoon City, a rookie cop with a center part hairstyle was driving to his first day on the job. Actually, before he was killed, he injected himself with a progenitor virus variant, and successfully merged with the virus. Ordinary physical attacks like those against the Tyrant couldn't kill him. Now we move into the story of Resident Evil, The Umbrella Chronicles. After reviving, Wesker brushed off the dust and stood up. His wounds healed because of the virus. That's when he discovered the combat data he'd painstakingly collected had been transmitted to a server called UMF-013. Wesker's access was also restricted by Umbrella's system. He immediately knew it was Umbrella executive Sergei Vladimir's doing. About this Sergei, just know he was loyal to Umbrella, and already knew Wesker had betrayed them. So he stole the data from Wesker. Later, Wesker, now a superhuman from the virus, killed Sergei, copied Umbrella's data and handed it over to an international court. This ultimately led to Umbrella's complete downfall. We'll go into more detail about this in part 3. That's all for this video. If you liked it, feel free to like, subscribe, and share your support. See you in Resident Evil 2, Raccoon City.